Programming made possible by
Louisville Water, quality of life. Louisville Water has over 150 years of experience in the science of water. Learn the history behind every glass at the Waterworks Museum, located inside Louisville Water's 1860 original pumping station.
Did you know Kentucky has more navigable miles of water than any other state in the U.S. except Alaska?
Is Alaska still a state?
Includes 90,000 miles of streams and dozens of rivers.
It's also quite famous for some other liquids, those which flow from a barrel, that being beers, bourbons, and wine.
Many of the world's best-known distilleries can be found right here in the Bluegrass State, and interestingly enough, pretty darn close to many of our lakes, rivers, and streams.
We're here to take you on an expedition of the secrets and histories of our intricate waterways while visiting Kentucky's distilleries, breweries, and wineries.
I'm Carrie.
And I'm Kyle. And we're two Kentuckians who are pretty proud of our state and want to share a sip of what the Commonwealth has to offer. What's up, Miss Carrie?
What exactly are you doing?
Well, it's a beautiful day in Kentucky. Thought I'd hang out by the pool for a little bit, you know?
Well, you do realize that is a pool of wastewater.
You know, now that you mention it, does look a little muddy.
Yeah.
So you're saying that stuff floating is,
Yeah.
Well, that's fantastic. Exactly why are we meeting here by this particular pool?
Well, this pool belongs to the Louisville Metropolitan Sewer District, and I'm going to learn about how they take this dirty water and make it clean again.
While you're doing that, I am going to head to the great city of
Louisville,
and go to a brewery, I believe called Against the Grain, and learn a little bit about some beer flavor profiles.
I'm going to take a paddle while you do that on Floyd's Fork and learn a little bit about conservation.
Conservation's important. So is Prohibition.
Ah.
Well, not really. I think they repealed it, but I'm going to head to the Frazier Museum either way.
Well, I'll tell you what, when you're done, why don't I buy you a beer at Apocalypse Brewery?
You know what? That sounds like a wonderful thing for you to do. And because you're going to do that, a gift for you. Enjoy.
Thank you.
And yeah, I'll catch you at Apocalypse.
Don't swim in the water.
Good call.
Well, I'm here with Stacy Huber, and we're at the Louisville Metropolitan Sewer District. Stacy, why don't you tell me what is going on back here?
Back here we are treating wastewater at the Floyd Fork Water Quality Treatment Center.
How much wastewater do you get? There's an awful lot of water in there.
At Floyd Fork we get about 4 million gallons per day.
4 million gallons?
Yes.
Where does all that water come from?
It comes from homes and businesses around the Floyd Fork area.
Well, tell me what you're doing back here to treat all that wastewater.
Back here, this is an oxidation ditch. We use oxygen to remove some of the nutrients from the wastewater so it can eventually go out clean.
Wow.
We are now at the secondary clarifiers. Whenever the water leaves from up there and the solids leave from up there, they come down here, settle down, and all the clean water goes out over weirs.
Oh, wow. So it is a lot more clear here.
Yes.
Now, what do you do with all of the waste that you remove from the water?
The waste that we remove from the water and from the plant, we truck to Morris Foreman to be made into fertilizer.
Wow.
Yes, we are the ultimate recycler.
So tell me what happens when the water leaves this part of the plant?
When it leaves here, it goes through a tertiary treatment, which is cloth filters, and then out through the UV to the receiving stream, which is Floyd's Fork.
Wow, so it goes right back into the river?
It does.
Wow, can I go see that?
You can. Actually, there's someone down there waiting for you.
Well, this looks like a beautiful, clear stream, but it's coming out of a pipe.
Right, so this is the line that leaves the plant at Floyd's Fork, at our treatment plant.
Okay.
And so it runs over these ripples and then hits the stream here at Floyd's Fork.
So the water looks more clear than the river does.
Well, in a lot of ways, the water coming out of the plant is cleaner than the water in the creek itself. So you have that whole treatment process. As you saw, the water coming into the plant is very dirty, and then by the time it leaves, it looks like this.
What is a simple thing that everyone can do that can make your job easier and the water in Floyd's Fork cleaner?
Some simple things to do: pick up after your pets, don't litter, if it's about to rain, don't drop a bunch of fertilizer and lawn chemicals out in your yard. And so those are some really simple things that you can do that have a big impact on the quality of our water. And then on the sewer plant side, just don't flush things that aren't supposed to be flushed. So like wipes and other items, make sure they end up in the trash and not down the drain.
So this water looks clean enough to drink. Can I get some and give it to Kyle?
Oh, I don't know if I would do that.
Well, maybe I'll get some. Let's just not tell him.
Okay, that's fine.
All right, let's go get it.
Where can a guy get a drink in this place? I mean, seriously.
Well, unfortunately, Kyle, it's 1921. It's Prohibition, so normally I'd tell you you're out of luck. But we happen to be in our Spirits of the Bluegrass Prohibition in Kentucky exhibit, and we've got a speakeasy, so how about a straight Kentucky bourbon?
Ooh, well, nothing wrong with that. Although we may be arrested. No, wait. We can drink it. They just can't make it, right?
That's actually right. And how you got it? That's none of my business.
Exactly.
But it is not illegal during Prohibition to actually consume it.
Tell me a little about what's going on here with this fantastic exhibit and how that plays a role in our Kentucky heritage.
Yeah, well, this is here at the Frazier History Museum. We like to consider ourselves where the world meets Kentucky, and you can't meet the state of Kentucky without meeting the story of Kentucky bourbon.
A big history here, and a lot of it was coming from Kentucky before Prohibition, and then that happened. What in the world did folks do when they said, sorry, you can't make any more of this stuff?
There's a reason for it. Consumption was, off the charts. You think we drink a lot now? Like in 1870, Americans were consuming 4 times what they consume right now. So that led to the advent of the temperance movement, and the temperance movement started going to work. People were basically over-consuming. They were drunk all day.
So it wasn't, what was it, Carrie, a Nation that was all...
Carrie Nation, you got a picture of her. She's right over there.
Right behind us over there.
Kind of a scary-looking lady, but...
frightening.
The story, she would go into different saloons, and she would say, "Good morning, sirs, destroyers of men's soul," and she would start bashing the place with a hatchet or an axe. She did it like 30 different times. She got arrested every time.
That's a buzzkill.
Yeah, and she was born here in Kentucky. She did most of her damage in Kansas, but she was born here in Kentucky, and so they would arrest her. They'd say, "Don't do it again," and she'd say, "Okay, I'm sorry," and then she'd go back out and go to the next. A lot of people don't understand that at the end of Prohibition, even the temperance movement was lobbying the government to get it repealed, to get it turned over, because it didn't work. There were so many unintended consequences. But organized crime as we know it is because of Prohibition, and Al Capone is featured in here. He used to spend some time here in Louisville in the Rathskeller, the Seelbach Hotel, and played poker in that room.
Salute.
Not real.
You say so.
Sorry.
So what's the deal? I mean, why were people pouring their bourbon and their stuff out in the streets? I mean, couldn't we have done something with it during Prohibition?
It sure would have been nice, but they had to pay taxes on it if it was still in the warehouse when Prohibition went into effect. So that whiskey, which couldn't have been shipped overseas, was often poured into the sewers.
Travesty. All right, we've got this Prohibition thing going on, and then not far on the heels of Prohibition was the Great Depression.
Absolutely.
So you're saying maybe there may have been a little connection between
Well, no question about the economies in America and the stock market. Think about grain futures, think about soy futures, think about all the different industries that are connected with farming in the United States at that time in the 1920s.
Right.
So all of this is connected, and of course it led to a lot of poverty.
So we came back out, people are getting back, but we still have some, even today, right? Some things, some
Certainly
memories.
the lingering effects, yes. You can look in Kentucky at the ratio of counties. There's dry counties, there's wet counties, and then what we call moist counties, which have a local option about whether or not to allow alcohol sales in their county. You know, in some counties like Jefferson County, even on Sundays, there are certain aspects of buying alcohol only after 1 p.m. And then there are some counties like Franklin where you can't buy package sales even on Sunday. So these are some of the lingering effects of Prohibition. One of the things that Carrie Nation would be really proud about is the responsible consumption in the alcohol industry today. Everything is labeled and everyone is pushed to practice moderation and safe practices. The bourbon industry is a thriving, incredible economic stimulator for our state today. But there were more than 300 distillers before Prohibition. And remember, there were only 6 that had a license to sell medicinal whiskey during Prohibition. So a lot of those distillers did not go back into business after the Depression. So we're really fortunate here that we can look at the history, but also mine that for what's relevant today. What are those lingering effects of Prohibition? So come back and learn some more about Kentucky's history.
We loved it, and I'm gonna figure out how to get this a little more liquefied.
How you doing?
Welcome to Floyd's Point.
Well, thank you. It is certainly a beautiful day to be on the water.
It is. It just relaxes you, and it's the best place to be in Jefferson County, I think.
Well, you have been paddling this water for a while. Why don't you tell me what makes it so special?
Well, first of all, the history. John Floyd, that's where it gets its name, was a settler here in this area in the 1770s. And that time, and you know, this is just a wonderful area. It's an area that we have a chance to save, and so we started about 24 and a half years ago, and Mary Bingham and I started what's called the Future Fund, and the purpose of that was to have one creek that we could pretty much save from its entirety, and it comes in from Oldham County and goes out through Bullitt County and all the way down to the Ohio River through the Salt River. And so it's a wonderful creek, and it gives us the opportunity, and we've worked very hard to put land around it, which protects it, but also gets people out in the area, and that's what's called the Parklands. And so the Future Fund's part of the Parklands is Metro Louisville, and so we're trying to encourage people to come out and experience the creek and get on it, walk it, fish it, and it's a wonderful place to be, and they just need to come out and see it.
Awesome. Well, tell me, it has probably changed quite a bit since John Floyd was here.
We've tried to maintain the history in the area. We've tried to maintain the agriculture so that we still produce our own farm, you know, our tomatoes and our melons for downtown Louisville for the restaurants. And so it gives us the opportunity to not just have agriculture, but we have recreation now through the Parklands. You can bike, you can fish, you can hike, just whatever you want to do. Here we are in canoes and kayaks. So it's a wonderful opportunity, but again, you know, even though there are a lot of people in this area, there's a lot of the natural beauty that's still here that was here 200 years ago.
Well, I think John Floyd would be proud if he were here today.
I think John Floyd would be pretty happy with our initiative, but he would say we got a ways to go yet.
Well, let's do a little bit of paddling.
All right, let's go.
So Sam, we're in a very special place right now, above the chaos, where the magic happens. How did Against the Grain come to be?
Around 2010, my partners and I were brewers in the Louisville brewing community. We kind of noticed that it was a very grayscale environment, not a lot of excitement, not a lot of unique things happening. So we decided to bring color to that. Unique flavors, unique branding, a quality that's unsurpassed. You know, we're really excited about what we've done. We formed our company in a very unconventional manner. We do things in a very unconventional manner, and our beers are very unconventional. So we really live and die by that Against the Grain moniker. So the things you're gonna find with us are gonna be very much outside of the box. We don't really brew styles, we brew flavors. We have a new facility that's manufacturing where we do a core line of beers that are really great. And then here at the pub, it's all R&D. So we're doing everything that you can imagine. I think right now we have on a mead. So beer made with honey, pretty amazing.
The Kentucky honey?
Yeah, of course.
Well, this is beautiful. We love being up here. Who else do we need to talk to find out any more about this one?
I think you guys should talk to our marketing maven, Katie.
Let's go find him.
Sounds good.
What I've been told is that you're this marketing maven, this person who knows all of these things and about what it is to be against the grain.
Sure.
Tell me about it.
Well, really, I prefer to call myself a storyteller. We're all about sharing our good times with the world, and we tell a ton of stories, whether that be through the labels on our cans to coming into our pub and hearing and interacting with the servers and staff here. We've actually humanized the commodity that we make here. So there are 6 styles of beer that we do all of the time, and they are smoke, hop, whim, session, malt, and dark. And we've actually taken those styles and turned them into characters. Yeah, the idea behind all of these characters is that it's not just the style. We want someone to be able to pick up the can and know, oh, that's session, so I know I'm gonna like this because it's gonna be a light beer. And vice versa, they see hop on the can, they don't have to read what the style is. They're gonna know immediately that it's gonna be a hoppy beer. So talking about all these characters, really you need to talk to Jerry Nagy, one of the owners.
Jerry knows these people personally.
Knows them very, very well.
Let's go find Jerry.
Yeah.
All right, Jerry, so I've been told that you are the man behind the mix here at Against the Grain. I see, I mean, even now, I'm sitting here drinking a beer. You've got a special cup. You're drinking some brew that we haven't
Yeah,
even
this is
seen.
a special brew. It's called black coffee. It's delicious, keeps them going throughout the day. It really does.
We learned a little bit from some of your colleagues about the magic and the mystique behind this place. But we haven't talked to anybody about what goes into making this fantastic beverage. And it seems that you've got some experience in that. Tell me about, I mean, how long have you been doing it? When did you get started?
I got started when I was in high school, actually. I saw a beer making kit in Field&Stream magazine. And you know, as a high school student, you're always looking for some good way to find beer. And so, you know, why not make it? So I ordered it then. Turned out I was okay at it. I was better than average at it and turned a life of poor choices into a career. But this was the only other thing I could probably do was take that, you know, years of brewing that I've done at home. I went and got an apprenticeship at a place in Detroit, Michigan, and started working there. Turned out I really loved the job, using all the tools that I've learned throughout the years to produce something that's interesting and new all the time. And that's what Against the Grain is. I used all the years of experience I had, 8 years of professional brewing experience before we started Against the Grain.
This has really been fun. People got to check out Against the Grain, and I appreciate you guys hosting it.
Hey, no problem. Oh, wait.
Oh yeah, come on, seriously?
Well, David, we just came off the Ohio River onto Beargrass Creek. Mm-hmm. Tell me a little bit about this waterway.
Well, first, welcome to Beargrass Creek. It's urban paddling, you know, urban paddling in the Commonwealth of Kentucky. And Beargrass Creek is the main urban stream here in Louisville. Drains about 67 square miles, 3 main forks, the Muddy Fork, the Middle Fork, and the South Fork. And we're on the main stem. Actually, this is a reconstructed part of the stream. In 1851, they dug a new stream, this is it right here, And so the old Beargrass Creek used to come out down by 2nd Street, right by Joe's Crab Shack. And so Beargrass Creek has been manipulated and changed and over the years in many, many different ways. Yeah, right over here you can sort of see its old cutoff wall, and so 1851 they started digging this to basically drain downtown Louisville. Over here on the right side, every piece of land in an urban area has history, and this was the most heavily developed area of all of Louisville. More people lived here per square inch than anywhere else in Louisville. And the 1937 flood came along and wiped it all out. After World War II, they came in, and this was the city dump for probably 50 years. We just used the creeks as our sewers. This is what's called the combined sewer overflow. And so if you have your pipes fill up with storm water, there's no room for the sewage, and what happens is it backs up into people's houses. And people made the decision to, instead of having their sewers back up into your house, they created outfalls, and there's 137 of them in our community. You know, in some ways you can look at it and you sort of say, you know, for almost 750,000 people, there's not much litter. And so, you know, I'd think there'd be more litter. Now, a lot of it gets washed downstream to Paducah or to the Gulf of Mexico, and so, because that's where this water goes.
David, what is this structure behind me here?
Well, this is the MSD Beargrass Creek pumping station, which is the beginning of the flood wall for the city of Louisville that protects us from the Ohio River floods.
Oh, I think I was supposed to do an interview here.
I thought somebody was here to interview me. Tell you what, I'll just do it myself. I'm Dane Anderson. I'm the Flood Protection Supervisor for MSD here in Louisville, Kentucky. We're looking at 8 flood pumps here, and in the center section you'll see our switchgear and motor control center. And we have capabilities of pumping about 2.5 million gallons a minute, full capacity. Louisville and Jefferson County as a whole and the surrounding communities, we're basically sitting down in a bowl area. So like back in 1937, the whole city basically flooded and had to recede naturally back into the Ohio River. So back in the early 1940s, the United States Army Corps of Engineers built this 29-mile flood wall and earthen levee that protects the city now. So when the river raises up, we can shut off these flood protection systems, close the river off from us, protect the city, and then once that recedes, we can open everything back up and move the water back out into the Ohio River. Right now, the infrastructure is extremely old. We're very undersized in certain areas, and a lot of the combined sewer systems we just can't handle. Even during minor rain sometimes, 1/10 of an inch of rain can actually cause issues. So you think about all the systems inside the city that we're protecting, billions of dollars, all the community people that are here, the infrastructure, the tourism and everything that's here in the city. I mean, it's a great responsibility.
When this was built, it was the largest pumping station in the world. And then they built on the other end of the flood wall, the second largest pumping station in the world.
Well, for now, the sun is out, and that looks like maybe a solar panel up there.
I'm Russ Barnett. I'm with the University of Louisville, and I am the director of the Kentucky Institute for the Environment and Sustainable Development. One of the projects here at the park is a water treatment plant on Beargrass Creek, doing research on how can we treat water without using fossil fuels or any chemicals. What we're doing is mostly using solar power. We've submerged a pump. It'll pump water up to a storage tank where we're filtering, it's letting that settle out any of the sediment. And then we're running it through various filters, and we're doing research on different kinds of filters. After it goes through that, we're dumping it into a waterfall that we have constructed, and we're using that waterfall to aerate the waters. We've actually filtered the water and killed most of the bacteria. We are able to get about 90% efficiency rate.
Well, now the water quality is improving, right, David?
Well, the water quality is improving from the past 50, 100 years for sure. I would still not drink this water directly. I would not swim in Beargrass Creek, but the water quality is getting better. And for the first time in 100 years, making beer out of Beargrass Creek water.
Well, I think I could really use a beer after this paddle.
Go to Apocalypse Brew Works and have some Beargrass Blonde. That's what they've named the new beer.
Well, this is incredible. You have a lot going on in here.
Yeah, a lot of stainless steel, isn't it fun? Well, there's a lot of water here, and I don't know if you know much about the brewing process, but to brew like a gallon of beer, it takes almost 5 gallons of water.
Wow.
Just because of the cleaning and the brewing process itself.
So you take the water out of Beargrass Creek and you make beer with it?
Yes, we have. Not all our beer, but this beer, but one in particular we have.
And that's your Beargrass Blonde?
Yes. What we do is when we plan the recipe, we try to make it the water itself was the main feature.
Okay.
Because you can make a lot of beers with a lot of different ingredients and specialty stuff, but we really wanted the water to stand out. So it's a light, easy drinker. The hops aren't too high, but you get to taste the malt. And I think the malt comes through because of the water itself, because of the mineral content.
Wow. Well, I think we should go get a beer. I want to try this Beargrass Blonde.
Oh, absolutely.
Awesome.
It's delicious.
I can't wait.
So I see you're making friends and having fun and drinking beer. That's fantastic.
I am. I got a Beargrass Blonde here.
Much as I said, I could actually use a little water.
Really?
If you've got any water by chance, you can order me one. A bottle, I don't care. Whatever you got, I'm dying. Oh, thank God. This is fantastic. No, seriously, I appreciate it. We've been running around like it's crazy. What's the big deal?
That is treated sewage water. It's been treated though.
It's kind of got a lemony flavor, whatever. Beer? And you seriously gave me sewage water to freaking drink right now.
Treated sewage water.
Yeah, whatever, all right. You know what, that's enough of the show. It's been fun in Louisville. We'll see you next time.
Downstream.